Okay, so it's great to meet you. Thank you for joining me in this video today. So to everyone who doesn't know, this is the CEO of Munich Airport, and I'll be asking him a few questions that you guys submitted and also that I worked on hard last night, and I think it should be really interesting. So I want to start, if you don't know, Munich Airport is actually rated the best airport in Europe, and it's the only 5-star airport in all of Europe. Why would you say it is that way? Why does Munich have this good reputation?
I think it's the luck of late birth, because we are quite a new airport. So we were relocated from downtown Munich, now about 40 kilometers away from city center. But our founding fathers had a very good plan to design the airport, but they actually, I must say, they actually did never, I think that the airport would become so big. But the master plan was very good, and we very carefully developed the airport. Now we are amongst the 7/8 largest airports in Europe. I always say we do play Champions League, airport Champions League, and it's a beautiful airport. It is easy to use, although it's big and large. It has a very special ambience. For example, I think we are the only airport which has a beer garden, and we are the only airport that owns a brewery. So we operate a brewery. Of course, we have Bavaria. Yeah. And I think the third very important factor is that we have 35,000 people working here, but all of them are very empathetic. You feel Bavarian hospitality here. We are all in a good mood, and this all adds to the 5-star. And of course, it's also a German quality machine. Yeah. So what we do is okay, and and I love to work here. It's really great.
That's great. So if you had to tell someone, but maybe besides the beer garden, the one thing that's really cool or 5-star about this airport, what would you tell them?
Yeah, well, we have a calendar of events here. Our terminals are cool because they are all rated, and we just have a new little baby, our new midfield terminal that is linked with an underground train that lifts us up to new heights as far as the quality service is concerned. I think the coolest thing is that you feel hassle-free at the airport. If you look at the view of an ordinary passenger coming into this airport, it's fairly hassle-free compared to other airports. I think the ambience is really cool that we have, and last but not least, we are a real beauty. And you can't say that of many airports.
So what do the 5 stars mean to you? And if you look, for example, at a chef running a 3-star Michelin restaurant, that's, life or death for them almost to maintain these stars. So how do you work to make sure you keep these stars and stay as Europe's #1 airport?
Well, there's many aspects. It is in the end hard day-to-day work, because when this standard is defined and communicated, passengers do expect that you always deliver. And if you don't, you immediately get a complaint that you are called 5-star airport, but I had a queuing time at the security of more than 5 minutes. This does not fit to a 5-star airport. And they're right. The expectations are high, so we work on all the processes that we have. The attitude is very important, because you always have the face-to-face, one-to-one communication. So it's always the moment of truth for a passenger, for a guest that we have here. So each moment should be a good moment. So that's has to be trained and has to be in the end educated as far as the staff is concerned. The function of the airport is very important, so that it runs smooth. We are a transfer hub, so a large proportion of our passengers transfer through the airport. We have a very fast transfer hub, and our transfer hub is designed in a way that also the bag makes the transfer.
Yes.
In the end, our baggage failure rate is very low. Of course, sometimes happens, but even the short connexes work. We have special services there. So many parts of the airport, and of course, it's important that you always that you address from time to time the staff. You do good evaluations. You take passenger comments seriously, and work on them.
So, do you have an approximate number for what the proportions are between passengers connecting and passengers staying in Munich?
Yeah, we have about 36% connecting passengers, and O&D passengers, as we call them. It's the remainder, about two-thirds, one-third.
So another interesting question. Yesterday we were speaking a bit about other German airports. So how, to what extent do you collaborate or compete with other German airports?
Of course, we do compete in our traffic segment that we have, and we are one of the large European hub airports. So our competitors are competitors in Europe. Of course, as far as Germany is concerned, it's Frankfurt, but that would be the only one competitor. But when you look at our peer group, it would also be Amsterdam or Zurich or Copenhagen, Paris. That will be the arena we compete with. And the interesting thing is, it's not only a competition between and amongst airports. In the end, it's a competition of airport airline systems. So we are a Star Alliance hub. So the Star Alliance hub would be in competition with a One World hub or with the SkyTeam hub, because in the end, when you look at European passengers that have to hub or have to transfer for intercontinental connections, they have a big choice. So in the end, price matters, of course, but also the quality of the connecting process, the reliability of the system, and of course also the image of the airline.
Yeah. And what do you think about if Berlin ever gets a new airport? What do you think? Perhaps when
of course Berlin will get a new airport, and they also need a good airport. Well, as Berlin is a very good example for Murphy's Law. But now I think the problems are all written down, and it takes now some time to really reorganize and rebuild the airport. But I'm very sure Berlin airport will then get into operation, and when it's online, it will be a good airport, I'm pretty sure.
Great. And now a little about the Middle Eastern carriers, because we have a lot of airports and airlines talking about that. So I understand that the airport benefits, of course, from the Middle Eastern airlines is traffic. But for example, if I live in Copenhagen, then I could choose, if I'm going to Asia, instead to connect in Dubai straight away and then go to Asia when I might have connected in Munich in the first place. So how do you look at that, as they simultaneously benefit the airport but may also perhaps be not stealing, but taking some of your business?
I think first you have to state it's a fact. You have the Gulf carriers, you have the large airports that already have been built or are currently being built. And I would also include, by the way, Turkish Airlines plus the new Istanbul airport to that group. And it's a challenge also for European hub airport, it's true. It works as long as the market grows. When the market growth is large enough to Asia, to Southeast Asia, to Australia, whatever, eastbound, then there's a share for everybody. Of course, there is a big price competition that leads a little bit to the issue that there should be a level playing field for everybody. There should be fair competition amongst these airlines or airline systems, and that's certainly a focus you have to put on what happens there. But it's a challenge for us. We, especially as far as the unit costs are concerned of a process in Europe, of course they are much higher. So we put a lot of focus on that. Passenger rewards quality, we know, but of course we have a big price sensitive, large price sensitive travel group. They will of course use these carriers. On the other hand, they also develop markets, also inbound markets, especially Munich has a large Arabic inbound market, and it has also added to economic to develop new economic clusters here. For example, 5 years ago we wouldn't have had a health cluster in Munich, especially dedicated to the needs of people from the Arab Peninsula. Now it's there, and it's interestingly in Munich we have a 50-50 traffic mix, so there's also a lot of people coming into Munich. So that's an aspect that has to be considered as well. In the end, the economic impact, the footprint that these carriers produce.
Yeah. So another big carrier here in Munich is obviously Lufthansa.
Yeah.
So
that's our home carrier.
Yeah. So how do you balance your relationship with them while still being accommodating to other airlines at the airport?
Well, that's a core task of airport managers.
Yeah.
They have to balance out the interests amongst different airlines. Of course, they buy the services. We have to safeguard that they have fair competition at the airport. Of course, Lufthansa is by far our biggest customer. Without Lufthansa, we would not have grown such a speed and such a large number of intercontinental destinations. So Lufthansa was in the end absolutely necessary to get into this position. What we did maybe is also special because we have in the end created a common joint venture. So we do operate one of our two terminals within this joint venture structure, which had the advantage that when we designed it and built it, that we really focus on the passenger side. And that's maybe one of the secrets why this airport is so successful, because airport needs, classic airport needs, plus essential airline needs were, I think, very well thought of, and made it a successful terminal, which then in the end is also a market argument again for Lufthansa Group and Star Alliance. I mean, we not only have Lufthansa but 20 other airlines operating within Star Alliance, and that's really a success story. It is also commercially very successful, so we're proud of it, and yeah.
Okay. And then you don't have to get too political with this, but how are you preparing for the potential impact that Brexit could have on the UK market and on the European market in general? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, of course we think about that. I feel very sad about this decision, but it's a fact right now. It will have an impact on European aviation, that's sure, but we all should keep calm now and keep cool, because it takes some time to sort it out. But of course the common market will change. and the relationships between the UK and Europe will change, and how the new world will be designed, we don't know yet. But I think there will be impact on, for example, UK carriers operating on a common market routes in the European Union. Whether in future a Ryanair or EasyJet base in a European country is possible for operating routes intra-Europe, EU-Europe, I put a big question mark on that. So this will change the whole aviation scene. Generally, the impact of the Brexit, because of the uncertainty of the Brexit, will be that the economy slows down. And as aviation development, passenger numbers is always a derivative of economic growth. And if that economic growth is slower than without Brexit, it will have an impact also on the traffic development in Europe. UK for Germany is a very big market, so it will have an impact, I'm sure. But to quantify it, it's too early to say.
Okay.
And look at the devaluation of the pound. That will change the traffic patterns of the Brits and the Scots and the Welsh people and the Northern Ireland people. It will become much more expensive to fly into Europe. And as there is a price elasticity, yes, price elasticity, it will have an impact on the intention of people to fly to Europe, continental Europe. I mean, I still consider, of course, the UK as being a European country. The Germans love the UK, but we sometimes do not understand them.
I can see that. So I just have my viewers submitted some questions as well, which are on here, and many of them were a little more interested in perhaps your job is in running an airport as opposed to the airport itself. So first, what is unique about managing an airport as opposed to an airline, and what relationships do you have with the different components yourself, like with airline CEOs and other parts like that?
I must say I like an airport manager job more than an airline, because it's much more complex. You have the whole arena. It's not only the business. I mean, managing an airport, having good operational procedures, attitude things, commercial things, but you're also the representative of aviation in the region. So everything which happens with aviation, for example, today we have the aftermath of the Istanbul terroristic attack, so we have to do something, explain here. Regionally is done by the airport. Aviation is explained by airports. As far as the impact on the single person is concerned. So our job is very political also. Airport development is highly complicated. I mean, airlines just use the infrastructure. But to get the infrastructure in the political environment we have right now is highly complicated, because you have a fundamental social and economic issue that you have to explain, and you need to get the support of the region for that. I mean, that's of course affluent society politics in the end.
So you're hinting
and the other thing is, I really like that the huge range of jobs we have. At least our company, because we are involved operationally in many issues at the airport. We for example, run the hotel as well at the airport. We have our own F&B company, so I explained to you earlier, we run a brewery. So we have of course, educated brewer there, a trained brewer. We employ a lot of people with not elaborate educational background, because we have a lot of physical work, but we also have the eggheads that are internationally the wanted experts on airport development. We have a highly developed IT infrastructure, because of course we are in the security, we're very much involved in having a safe and 150% secure airport. So the demand there is also complex. What to do and what not to do to have a seamless travel experience. We are in the service industry, because what you experience here as an end customer has a very big impact on what you feel at the airport. So the level of service industry, you have to like people. I mean, we have 120,000 people every day going through the airport, so 120,000 moments of truth. So it's really interesting, and of course the airport is an economic machine for the region. We have a large impact. This airport produces per year around 1,000 jobs per year only at out at the airport site, on our campus, and we produce another 1,000 jobs. We have a large impact on the economy of not only metropolitan Munich, but also for Bavaria. We are also an ambassador for Bavaria. So we are also a showcase for Bavaria. So we want to do that as well. So we want to be nice.
Great.
And for example, during the Oktoberfest, our ladies, they all wear dinner dresses. So now it's Oktoberfest time, and everybody is partying. So and they also like to wear it. So many facets, which I really like. And you have to like people in the end to run the airport.
Of course. Even yesterday, I got a Munich Airport Bavarian phone case from Corina. So I felt like when you were talking about that, you perhaps hinted at the political difficulties of a third runway. How is Munich? Obviously Munich Airport wants to grow in that way, but how are you working with politicians to see that through, and what challenges will there be?
Well, I mean, that's an archetypal issue of affluent societies, what we have here. Young people like you, I mean, you travel like hell, but a majority of young people don't want a bigger infrastructure. And because it's old analog business, you all are connected, and you look to YouTube and whatever. But the analog business is as important as the digital business. But we do not have any lobby anymore. Although it's very efficient what we do, and third runway always means, wow, there's a climate impact on that. The climatic impact is done through the people who fly. If you stop flying, we don't need the third runway. But I can't see that the younger generation flies less than the older generation. So we need to have efficient infrastructure. And this airport has by far the best strategic growth perspectives, because the negative impact on the population is very low. But although it's low, the noise made by protesters is very influential. Because everybody thinks, well, growth, and so do I need growth? Yes, we need growth. We need qualified growth. We need green growth. So when we do and when we expand, we want to do it 5-star also as far as the criteria is concerned on green airports. In the end, and that's very difficult to understand for many people, when you do not build a runway, your carbon footprint becomes worse. Because there will be not one single aircraft flying less in the whole world, because we do not have the runway. but we will have inefficient operation at our airport. So we are not as efficient, as fuel efficient as we could be with a third runway. And that's the reason why it is very, very important to communicate that. You have to understand that analog infrastructure is necessary, especially when you look at the globalized world. And at the moment we only talk about the European perspective, like Munich, affluent city, the young 35-year-olds, they sit in their chair and drink their cappuccino and everything works fine, like everything will work somehow. Well, I have to go to Shanghai, go to a party to Barcelona. No, third runway I don't want, because that's very bad for the for the climatic impact. And we have to convince them, they have to have trust in us, that what we do has a very, very strict green influence. Because when we do the expansion, we will do it with the best technology we know, and in the end with the intention to get into a stage of a neutral carbon growth issue.
So what other parts of the airport are especially green, or what have you done in the terminals, for example, to reduce energy consumption?
Well, let's take the new midfield terminal. That has been opened 13 years after the last terminal we opened. This terminal needs 40% less energy than terminal built 13 years ago, opened 13 years ago. And as we have a neutral carbon policy at our airport, the energy consumption of the terminal, which is more because we have a new terminal, has to be saved in our existing buildings. So we have a really huge energy saving program for the remaining buildings that we have. So we invest a lot of money so that these buildings use less energy, so that in the end the terminal, which is new, needs more energy for the whole airport, is carbon neutral.
Alright. Okay, we don't have that much time, so I'll save some of the questions, but just a little more about so someone asked, what is your favorite memory or favorite moment in your career at the airport so far?
That's a difficult question, because there are many memorable events here. I mean, of course, the big events that we have, getting successfully online a big terminal, because that's a high risk issue. But what I really like about this airport is that you can have a favorable memory every day. Because you meet so many people. But you know, one of the memorable moments of the last months was that Iron Maiden came with their aircraft here, and it was just parked right out my window. That was like, wow. Ed Force One is there, and of course, as a aircraft specialist, I saw that it was 747. It was such a thrill.
At your airport.
Everything happens here. When Bayern Munich wins the Champions League, what do? They come here and welcomed here. I just shake hands with them. Well done.
Really cool.
When they came from London. Of course, last year I welcomed Barack Obama here. So you have all the shiny people, or Madonna. You have the shiny people here, but in the end, every day is different, and that's also what I like about the airport manager job. Every day is different. You also have a lot of challenges, like when you have a terrorist attack. So everybody is in big trouble. We have to then, of course, find a policy to calm down the people and to communicate that this airport is a safe airport.
I'd like to thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me. It's been great to
it was a
meet
pleasure for me.
you. So everyone.
So become airport manager.
Yeah, everyone.
It's better than becoming an airline manager.
Even if you're an aviation enthusiast.
Of course.
Yeah.
Without aircraft, no airport.
Yeah. Then you get all these models, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and comment below what you thought. And please subscribe to my channel because I upload weekly high quality aviation content for aviation enthusiasts just like myself and you. And of course, make sure to follow me on all my social media. The links are below. Until next time, fly safe.
Servus, as we say in Bavaria. Servus.